So I'm a new notary. Wanted to tell you what I thought, how I feel about it, and a few things that I've experienced. So I've been a notary now for probably about 2.5 months, and been I started out doing it part time because I was working a full time job. So I started doing it part time, and I would do it like one after work, or I would do some on the weekends. Um, And right away, I knew that this was something that I would enjoy. I knew this was something that, also I could learn from. And I knew it was something I could do for a while. Um, so I was, like I said, I was doing it at the end of my work day. I would do some on weekends. And even with that, I was probably generating $400 a week just doing it part time. Then after that, I started getting more and more text messages, more and more calls from companies asking me to do signings. And it got to the point where I was probably turning down maybe 4 or 5 signings every day or every other day because I was at work, and I couldn't leave. Every now and then, I'd be in a position where I would, step out of the office and I would run and do a signing right quick, but those are few and far between. Um, for the main amount of signings, I had to wait until I got off from work or, like I said, work the weekends. So when I started turning down several signings, I knew I was at a point where I had to make a decision. And I decided to put in my notice and, to become a full time notary. And that was one of the best decisions I could have ever made. The first week I was a full time notary, I probably made close to 550, $600. But that second week of being a full time notary, I made close to 1,000. I would have been in the thousands, but we got hit with snowstorms. So it was some that I just couldn't do. Snowstorms were pretty bad, just blinding snow. And so a few of them I just wasn't able to get to. A lot of accidents on the interstates, things like that. But even with that, I still made close to 1,000. So overall, um, I'm glad I made this decision. I'm glad I made this change. It was much needed in my life, even as far as leaving the job. That's a whole nother story. I'll talk about that at another time, but I'm glad I did. And I can say that, I'm glad I made that switch. But one thing I will tell you is this job is work. It is work. It's not all about the money. You have to be prepared to work. Even though you're, as they say, you're just telling people where to sign. Well, it's a little deeper than that. You know, you have to get to these locations. You have to know something about the documents because there are several documents that has several places to sign on them, and you have to know where the customer is supposed to sign. You don't want to tell them to sign where the escrow officer signs or anything like that. So it's not quite as simple as just pointing to the blank on the paperwork and or the signature line telling them where to sign. It's not quite that simple. And you want to give a brief definition of the document. You just don't want to lay it on the table and say sign there. Although, could you get away with that? Probably, but at the same time, just me personally, I think that's kind of tacky. The customer want to hear a little something, about the document. the notice to cancel or the residential loan application. They want to hear a little something. You're not steering them on what to put on the document. That you don't want to do because you don't want to be wrong about that. But at the same time, you want to just give a brief general definition of the document that doesn't steer them. And I'm learning my documents. Like I said, I've been doing this about 2.5 months, so I'm learning my documents. There are a lot of documents that are the same, but with all the different signing companies, I noticed that a lot of signing companies have their own way of doing their documents. Some of them are the same as the previous. Some of them they switch up, depending on the state or the company. But overall, um, I enjoy this. It is a great field to be in. It's a great field that you can expand in. So I just wanted to share my experience with it, and I will be telling you about a few other experiences I've had, with customers, things like that. But just wanted to tell you my experience as a loan signing agent after 2 months.